Shalom, shalom, shalom. This is Brother Mawad coming to you again out in the highway and the byway, bringing on this gospel, this truth to edify the whole free elect of Yahshua, Israel, so-called blacks and Americans and Latinos, to warn the two-thirds of our people of the impending judgment that's coming to Great Babylon, America, to edify the hopefully elect of Yahshua, the one-third that would hear and forbear these words. But it's always a pleasure to let Esau the Edomite, the so-called white man, and all of his conglomerate of nations that are side with him in oppressing and suppressing the children of Israel, so-called blacks and Americans and Latinos whose seed line goes back to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, that the Lord Yahweh Shema Shai is going to send his only begotten son, the Mashiach, to destroy your ass and set up an everlasting righteous kingdom. Before we get started, let's turn to the east, give all glory and honor to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Kadash. Double honors to teachers, elders, and apostles of great millstone, like wise brothers putting on this truth. Faithfully, fearlessly feeding the sheep unto you, brothers and sisters tuning in. Shalom. All right. Yeah, we are. We're still in the mount of the sodomy. So, you still have the sodomites out there in Tel Aviv, even though you have the place getting bombed. They're still doing their sodomite parades out there. We know it's taking place here in Great Babylon, America. Okay, and we see what's been happening lately. You have Trump just came out and talk about the fact that they bombed the Iranian nuclear facility. Israel and Iran right now has been having the little scuffle that's going on. You have the U.S. right now staging a lot of their service members, strategic bombers and, their assets, okay, in Guam and several other places, and there's a high alert right now in the United States military in preparation to go for this war against Persia. For those of you who know your history, you remember back in the day after 9/11, they actually had 7 nations that they wanted to go after, okay? They wanted to go after, I think it was Afghanistan, Iraq, Iran was one of them. They wanted to go after North Korea, okay? And a couple of these other nations, that they deem, a threat to the American dominance. And so right now you're seeing that they having this, they're preparing to go to war against Israel. But we know that this, for us, this is the beginning of the end for Great Babylon, America, and so we're not worried about it, okay? But you people here in Great Babylon, America, and particularly you Edomites who's lived it up, you need to understand this. This is you're in your last days, literally, it could be days, okay, of enjoying this privileged and titled life that you find here in Great Babylon, America. In fact, when we go into the scriptures, let's start off with the book of Lamentations. This is the book of Lamentations 4 and verse 21. It reads, "Rejoice and be glad, O daughter of Edom, that dwellest in the land of Uz. The cup also shall pass through unto thee. Thou shalt be drunken and shalt make thyself naked." So this judgment of the Lord Yahweh Shema had given to the Hebrew Israelites, okay, is now going to be passed on to you. Great Babylon, America is no longer going to be that virgin daughter of Babylon anymore. In fact, you can see right now that all the exposure that's coming out, the tongues are falling on themselves. Everything that they're doing is more of a reality TV type setting. From these mockery of these civil rights movement. Starting with the Black Lives Matter back in the day. A couple years ago. To the simulation with the C-19. Okay, to the most recent, No Kings March here in Great Babylon, America. Okay, you see that you can see that they're trying their best to try to circumvent around prophecy, circumvent around what the Lord Yahweh Shema Shai, okay, has in store for this place. Esau is really trying to speed up time. In reality, that's what he's trying to do because he knows he has about a short time. So when you know that you have to accomplish something, okay, and you're rushing through it, there's a tendency to make mistakes. There's a tendency to overlook certain things that's going to be like, wait a minute. That's, they're going to see through that. It's like when you rush and trying to do a paper, you knew you had 3 weeks or 4 weeks to write that paper. But you wait until the night before to go and do that all night, what they call it, crunching, to write that paper. Chances are you're going to have grammatical errors. Chances are you're going to have mistakes. You're going to miss out on certain things that you should have put in to make the whole thesis or the paperwork or the paper coherent, work in order. And that's what you're seeing going on right now. And that's why you're seeing these so-called conspiracy theorists poking holes, okay, into what's taking place right now. They're saying, well, okay, at the same time you had this bombing going on in Iran, you had the mayor, okay, or the governor of California and the mayor or governor of New York come out and talk about that there might be, what do you call it? There might be terrorist type of thing that's going on. Terrorist things might take place. So you have them setting up the narrative right now that when you think about Iran and these other places, okay, and those of you who may have deployed overseas, you might see what these doggone IEDs look like. Be prepared for that. There's going to be IEDs in the roads over here in Great Babylon, America. You're also going to have these people over there. They strap bombs on themselves. Okay, so is it possible that there is a plan to bring out another 9/11 over here in the near future? Okay, that is going to really throw everything into chaos. Because remember, when you talk about new world order, okay, something new. Right now we're in the old world where people have rights, people have the ability to go and spare and go and come as they please and speak against the government, whatever the case is like that. This is the old world that we're currently in right now. They want a new world, okay, situation, order. In order to have a new world order, okay, it has to come or derive from something that's chaotic, something that's out of order. So they need to take this old world that we have right now, okay, where men like myself have the ability to come out here, and speak against the wicked rulers of this earth, the people that are doing all these things here, okay. Now you have to come around and strip people of their rights, strip people of their sovereignty, which is what the ability, to pay their bills and live comfortably here in Great Babylon, America, and replace that, okay. And this is going to be a global thing. Replace that with anarchy and chaos. So it will behooves you, those of you in the light, to keep an eye out for what's going to take place over the next couple of weeks. You have right now the 4th of July is in a week and a half or so, or 2 weeks from now. There's no doubt that they could probably have something on the 4th of July weekend. Because keep in mind, with someone like Trump, he's a reality TV guy. Keep in mind, remember he used to have the Apprentice and all those things. That this guy is all about. This guy is synonymous with drama. Okay, so it wouldn't surprise me if they're going to have some type of monumental attack or situation or incident here during the week or during the time of American independence, okay, which is July 4th weekend. And that would be a great time for them to do that, because it keeps that, it's a memory in people's head, like 9/11, which we know in the civilian world, 911 is what? Emergency. So how is it that they coordinate that to happen on September, which is the 9th month, on the 11th day, 9/11? So it's synonymous with that. So see how they do things like that. So they could have it to where they have something that goes on here, and it would make sense. Everybody would accept it because you just attack Iran. It would be acceptable that you would have like either a massive IED go off and kill a lot of people, or you have a small dirty bomb go off in someplace like New York or Los Angeles, okay, kill a lot of people, getting people all riled up, in addition to having those go off like that, you're going to have you still have the ICE going around grabbing people that they're calling illegals, which is the so-called Latinos and blacks, okay, here in Great Babylon, America. So you have that's going on. You have the PDD trial that's going on. So you have all these distractions that's going on, the Epstein thing, okay, as well as you have the constant wicked entertainment that's on the NBA finals. So there's a lot of things that's distracting people from what really is taking place behind the scene. Also, Iran, okay, is known for their cybersecurity abilities. Could they turn around and maybe there could be a convenient, okay, attack on the grid? Okay, and and brothers go into scenarios, and we've watched more than enough movies to see what happens when you have a grid that goes down for a couple of days, you know, a couple of weeks. You know, people in the beginning part, you know, they're trying to help each other, and then eventually they just start to turn on each other, because you have no power that's keeping the food cool, you know, meats and those things, you know, perishable items. Then eventually people are just going to go and say, okay, I need to grab all of this stuff right now, consume it, okay, or it's going to spoil. You can't have the logistics is thrown off because of that. So you are going to have people that, you know, when we go into second Ezra, that talk about how this chaos is going to take place. But nonetheless, it says the punishment of thine iniquity is accomplished, O daughter of Zion. He will no more carry thee away into captivity. He will visit thine iniquity, O daughter of Edom. He will discover thy sins. So the Lord is discovering all the sins of this place here. You can see with this sign here. Okay, Pride Month. Okay, they've got our women twerking. Okay, and you see this big mushroom cloud right here with this big fireball right here. This is going to be America in the distant future. Now, as many of the elder brothers talk about it, now is not the time to panic. Now is not the time to go soft. Okay, we're not at the end. Keep in mind what the Mashiach has said. He has said that what you'll see earthquakes, uproar the people, you know, scuffle and wars in diverse places. But it's not the end. It's the beginning of sorrows. It's the beginning of sorrows. And who's those sorrows really for? It's really for the unbelievers of our people. And it's also for the rest of these tribes, because you best believe. Here's the deal. Okay, you have the Ishmaelites, okay, and the Elamites, okay, so-called Middle Eastern and so-called East Indians, who own the gas stations and a lot of these businesses out here in certain states, especially California. Okay, now you think about it. How do these people from Iran look? They did look similar to these Indians and these Ishmaelites over here. So when you see if there's something goes on down over here that kills especially a lot of Edomites, okay, these Ishmaelites and these Elamites over here are not going to be safe. Think about what happened during World War II, okay, when you had the Japanese supposedly, sunk a couple of those ships out there in Hawaii, okay, in Pearl Harbor. Okay, you had them having these internment camps for these Japanese. Okay, moreover, when you look at what's going on right now, isn't that what's happening right now to the children of Israel? When they're grabbing and scooping you up and taking you in these vans and they're putting you in these facilities, that's internment camps, man. Okay, it doesn't mean that it ain't no more or any less stressful on the individuals that's experiencing this right now. If they go into an internment camp where there's a dungeon and they're being tortured, or they're being held against their will, in a room, maybe given a cup of water or whatever the case is like that, and being interrogated, it's still just as stressful. And this is what's going to be coming here on Great Babylon America, okay, is the fact that what we're going through right now is these wicked elites are about to turn up the ante, okay, in their pursuit of bringing in this new world order. And we know prior to that, what has to come into place here, okay? As Elder Apostle Taha and many others go into, these are the ones who've been around, we know that this has to come. This has to take place, and the system is already there. Okay, so this has to take place, and we know that this is going to create a lot of resistance, okay? Not only from the righteous, who are not going to bow down to it, but it's also going to be the people out there who are just going to say, well, why the hell am I going to bow down to this? Imagine a system, a global welfare system, in which everybody now, it's kind of almost like what's going on, what happened under the communist regime out in Russia, where everybody, doesn't matter, you work for the common cause or the common goal of the nation versus having that individual achievement. So over here, if you're smart or if you invent something or you have talent or skill, you can live a different life because you have the ability to earn more money. So it's based on your ability, okay, to create wealth, so to speak, okay? But under the system of communism, it's basically if you're a doctor, you're getting the same distribution of resources as somebody who may only be a janitor, okay? and that system worked for them. Now, once the Soviet Union collapsed and they went into this capitalism system, their crime pick up. You know, you had a whole lot of greed, because the personality of the so-called white man. He never has enough. It's about greed, and that's already ingrained into all of these nations right now. They've already drunken that the way of Great Babylon America. They've introduced it into their system, into their social life. Okay, their whole economic structure is based on capitalism, which is greed. Okay, so when they turn around and they collapse the system of the world, okay, and they're gonna allow chaos to pursue for any amount of period of time. We don't know how the period of time is going to be. It could be months, it could be years, we don't know. Okay, but they're gonna allow, you know, chaos and all hell to break loose. Is going to be here in Great Babylon America. It's also going to be overseas across these other nations that may not, you know, typically have those kind of issues. Okay, we can go into let's go into the book of let's go into Second Ezra and actually bring that up, because you gotta think, and I think in this way when I look at my neighbors, when I look at the people I'm around. Okay, so for example, you have a day like this that's like, you know, 3 digits, 100 degrees. How many people are walking around? I don't see anybody walking around. People can't even walk around, you know, for a couple of minutes. You know, they try to park as close as they can to the supermarket door. You know, they constantly ride around in air condition. You know, they try to live as comfortable as they can, but we're going to come into a time right now where there's not going to be any gas at the pump. You're not going to have any electricity, whether that's induced by, you know, the people that are looking to bring that, you know, that uncomfortable level here in particular cities or particular town. And we know that they're targeting these big cities, you know, like New York and Chicago and you know, just the biggest cities, you know, where they have, you know, where they have a lot more people. Because when they want to make a drama, they want to make sure, okay, when the world see the chaos going down, they want to make sure that people, they want to have big numbers. Okay, so let's go into 2nd Ezra 15. And I know we bring these out all the time because you always, you know, people always, you know, sometimes people look and they go, you know, why y'all always bring out the same old shit? You know, y'all don't change you don't change everything. Okay. And let's go into, let's go into 2nd Ezra 16, actually. Go into the book of 2nd Ezra 16. Pardon me here, I have a serious glare that's happening here. Okay, let's go into 2nd Ezra 16, and let's start with let's go into let's see which verse we can start off with. I'm trying to see here. I have a serious glare on this thing here. Slack here. Just give me in fact, you know what? Let's go in 2nd Ezra 6 and actually start with verse 22. This will be a little bit more closer to the example that I want to bring in. You know, it says, and suddenly shall the sown places appear unsown, the full storehouse shall suddenly be found empty, and the trumpet shall give a sound, which when every man hear it, they shall be suddenly afraid. At that time shall friends fight one against another like enemies, and the earth shall stand in fear with those that dwell therein. The springs of the fountain shall stand still, and 3 hours they shall not run. And let's think about that for a minute here. You have a nation of people that are incredibly out of shape. Okay? They don't walk. They don't exercise. Their body is poisoned by, you know, the toxic food out there that is served in these fast food restaurants. Okay, these things are made out of made in a lab somewhere. So that's why you have certain TikTok, certain certain YouTube video that shows the burger from McDonald's actually is still looks the same way 3 years later. How's that possible? So think about that. If you have something that can last that long, that's not biodegradable, and you're putting that into your body has to work very, very hard to try to digest that, to try to get that out. These people who lack the integrity or lack the discipline to get up and even go walk or exercise or even follow the dietary laws as we come out there and we said, okay, you get brothers that are putting up 4 or 5 videos a day, okay? They'll get the views because we already know that a lot of people watch for the purpose of entertainment. Okay, and you look at the like button right there, and you'll see maybe less than 5% would hit the like button. Okay, would hit the like button. So for the most part, people don't appreciate the work that the Lord, the work that the man of the Lord is doing out there. They don't, because again, you're not somebody that people look at as meaningful in their lives, as someone that actually had any type of value to their life, because they don't understand the value of this. They don't understand the value of this. Keep in mind here, there are brothers in this that actually held very high-paying jobs out there, 6-figure jobs, okay, out in the world, held positions of management or positions of authority, okay, that when they heard this truth, their spirit was humbled. They were humbled. They saw the value in this immediately. Okay, but people, when they see you hold a Bible in your hand and you come up on the highway in the Bible and you speak, you know, and prophesy, they have it symbolic. Unless you are part of the, you know, the ministers that go out there to they call them the prophet ministers. You know, when I say prophet, I mean the one that profit from their congregation. They get money, they collect money, they have these big mega churches and keep these mega events. You know. They don't look at your word as any type of value, because they don't have to pay for it. See, the true men of the Lord don't charge for this truth. You're not gonna have the men of Great Millstone and the affiliates, okay, who preach who preach the likewise gospel, have dollar signs on their channel, or looking for you to give them money. If you send money to certain brothers or elders, them or whatever case like that, hey, you know, it is what it is. But when you look at, say, like IUIC and these other groups out there that are Hebrew Israelite, they're under the constraint of constantly having to go in entertainment mode. You see, and that right there is a snare, okay, and it's also a constraint. Because this gospel is just straightforward. It's just straightforward right here. Right here. Look at the sign. What does it say? For there should be in every place and in the next cities a great insurrection upon those that fear the Lord Yahweh Shemel Shai. Who's those people? Do we see that happening right now? We see that taking place right now, right? You can look at that and you can see how simple that is? Okay? Make a simple sign like that. Okay? So that when the people come up, because most of our people tend to be very, they like to see pictures and they like to see pictures with words, you know. And most people they learn like that. I learn like that, you know. It's very simple. We see that going on right now. There's a great insurrection, okay, meaning that there's animosity. There's a collective set of people that are going after a certain set of people for a particular reason. So right now, those people that are having this insurrection come upon them is the Hebrew Israelite. And right now they're focusing on the Northern Kingdom tribes. You know, you have the Southern Kingdom tribes members, you know, a little kind of salty in their attitude. They're angry. So they're saying, you know, screw you, we're not going to go out there and march, which you shouldn't be out there marching. The marching has improved anything. And why are you going to your oppressor for mercy? Okay? Obviously from the 60s, where so-called Martin Luther King Jr. did those civil rights movement, clearly after 75 years, it hasn't worked. It hasn't worked. Okay? It doesn't work. So why in the hell would you waste your time at that? So you're right. You don't need to go there and go march. However, keep in mind, okay, that this man is coming after the children of Israel. He's coming after the children of Israel. Okay? So you have friends are going to fight against friends, okay, during this time of when they have the lights cut off. Okay? You know, people are going to get irritated like it's hot. When it's hot, you might have bugs bugging you, or you're in a room and, man, you're sweating. I mean, somebody might just say something to you that can just really turn, you know, really irritate you. So people can be irritated because they're not going to have that air condition. Okay, they can't get a good glass of cold water. Okay, and keep in mind, these people are not trained like, say, military people who are trained to drink shitty water, you know, lay out in the sun all day, low call, you know, a football field, you know, being with dust and blowing, and you gotta put up with that because why? Well, you ain't got no doggone choice. It's a life and death situation, and that's exactly what it's going to become. It's a life and death situation. That's why it says, and at that time, friends shall turn against each other. These Edomites, they're going to turn on each other. Well, you think Becky and Debbie is going to get along? Nah, man. They can turn these suburban neighborhoods with these Edomites. They know what each other has. They can take a look at the car and they can say, okay, they people sometimes, you know, they value by what kind of vehicles you drive. So if you're driving a really nice, expensive vehicle, or a vehicle that looks good, they assume that you may have something. So they're already measuring each other up. When somebody say good morning to you, hi, how you doing? I know my neighbor and all that stuff, and you come over for tea and, you know, a little bit of wine, and, you know, you look at the vacation that you've been on, or whatever the case is like that. They're measuring you up. So people are gonna remember that. People who have like what do you call it, the solar panel. Okay, so here's a power off, but you have lights in your yard. Okay, you have your refrigerators running, and you know, some people, they like to, you know, people like to exalt themselves. You know, that's like these preppers, and they don't realize that the Lord has to put the Spirit on them to prep for us, because we can be like pilgrims. We can be like pilgrims out there. Okay, we're gonna be like pilgrims out there. Meaning what? When the houses around you are getting burned down, and, you know, things obviously is getting danger close, you're not gonna stick the hell around there. You're gonna get the hell out of there, man. Because if you stick around there, because, like, think of like Lot's wife. You know, they were rich. She didn't want to leave, so she turned back. Okay, and look what happened to her. So this is why you have to isolate your mind and isolate your spirit away from the things here in Great Babylon, America. Yeah, you might have a nice house, all that stuff, and you might have, but then what are you gonna do? Try to defend it in an obviously losing situation, and what are you gonna do? You know, report it to the insurance company. We're gonna be in a situation where there ain't gonna be no insurance. When these cars are getting smashed up on the highways and stuff like that, you get people who might be 50 miles away from home, you know, in the dark corridor of the highway, you know, especially when EMP goes off, but you need to try to get home. How many people have actually walked 20, 30 miles? And you might have to carry a backpack with you, or you might have your kid. Can your kid or your baby walk 20 or 30 miles? See, people don't really think about how tough this is really going to be. Okay, so just only around the fact that you have no electricity, and you might have somebody that might have, you know, solar power, okay, that's powering their refrigerator, and they go, hey, I was prepping up for this and all that stuff like that. In the beginning, they might give it a hand on a cold beer, and everybody sit around because they think this is going to be a 1 or 2 day event. Oh, well, you know, somebody's going to go there and turn. And see, that's the thing about America, is that people have this mentality, somebody else is going to do it. They'll throw garbage on the ground, you know, throw crap. They let the dog shit on the running pad that you use to go do running or exercise on, because they think somebody else is going to go clean it, and that is the mindset, which is why it talks about the pestilence and the diseases, okay, that's going to be prevalent here in Great Babylon, America, because you get people who don't pick up after themselves. These parents, they don't teach their kids to pick up after themselves or clean, okay? So when you have a filthy environment where you're sleeping, where you're walking, okay, you're gonna have diseases. Or here it's gonna look like how when you look at National Geographic or watching those shows, you have those Hamites walking around barefoot, you know, literally in shit. The ground is actual shit, 'cause they just go outside, squat down, and they take a shit, and people just walking around in it. You get an open wound, and then you can have issues. But of course, what's the mindset of people over here? Oh, well, wait a minute, I can go down and I can go line up to the hospital, okay, and get treated. Well, you don't think all these people already going to be lined up? They got heart patients on. They got diabetes. You got the elderly that's going to be out there sitting down there. The Lord might put the physicians them to death. Okay, people are going to be so desperate out here. You know, they're going to be attacking any and everybody, and they may be attacking people who actually are an asset to society. Maybe a physician or somebody who actually works at the electrical company, or who can fix the grid to get the grid operational, get an attack, and you might be, you know, that person could be there like, hey, I'm the master engineer that's fixing this stuff right here. I don't care, man, I don't care, because they can come across a doggone two-turd, man, or an Edomite who might just be looking at you and just thinking like, man, you know what, I want to take this fool out. So you're going to have a place that's going to be in such chaos that nobody's going to be working in order or sit down and think for a minute, because you have a society that's extremely emotional. Extremely emotional. So those out there that are sitting around and think that you're going to work in cohesiveness together, well, there's going to be those that is going to work cohesive, you know, gangs roving around, you know, a lot of you women are in a lot of trouble. Okay? In a lot of trouble. And we can't even talk about these men. And I call them men only because they're biological men. But in reality, they're not watchmen for their household. They're still being controlled over by their doggone fat ass woman. Okay? And these men have not, you know, taken back their testicles. So that's why I said that these men are going to be like doggone women, man. Okay? They're going to be like doggone women. So that song of no food, no delivery, everything is spoiled, people are rushing out there trying to grab what they can grab, trampling on each other, kind of almost like when you think about that Black Friday that used to go on, okay? Except it's going to be real. There ain't going to be no phone call. Unless you get a satellite phone, in reality, cell phones, you have cell phone towers, those can go down too. Okay, so you have that issue that's going to be taking place here, and people are going to be in a whole lot of trouble. All right, let's go into the book of let's go to Jeremiah 51 and 25, because America is in big trouble. America is in big trouble right now. America is in big trouble. I just couldn't help it, like when Trump was like talking about there is no military power like the United States that can do this, what we just did, and blah blah blah, you know, and he's speaking with a great mouth, man, just bragging, and I'm thinking to myself like, wow, what military is he talking about? And no, you're right. The Lord bless Esau with the sword, and Great Babylon, America is a very powerful nation. It is very powerful, very, very powerful. But however, what Trump is not telling you people, and what we know, is when you go into Jeremiah 51 and verse 25, it reads, "Behold, I am against you, O destroying mountain, said the Lord, Yahweh Shemashai, which destroyed all the earth, and I will stretch out my hand upon thee, and roll thee down from the rocks, and will make thee a burnt mountain." So you have, I open up with the fact that you have Edom right now has to get that cup. The judgment of Zion, okay, you know, obviously we have to go through Jacob's trouble, okay, which we already have. We're already in Jacob's trouble. It is right now. We're already in Jacob's trouble. But of course it's going to get to a level of persecution that's going to be unlike anything we've ever experienced before. Because keep in mind, people got to look for somebody to blame for the issues that's going to be going on here. Okay, who's the poorest? Okay, when I talked about with Second Ezra 6 and verse 22, where it talks about, you know, the storehouses becoming empty, okay, and people turn on each other. Well, the poorest people here in Great Babylon, America, are Jake's, Slovakia. So when the resources goes down or dwindle, okay, as far as there's no help coming from the government because the government's too busy, you know, mustering up troops to go overseas to go fight, and this, you know, get the resources on, you know, go into the military, you know, to use a highway, Uh, and of course, obviously, they got to feed the troops, so the troops are going to eat. Okay, but everybody else out here is going to have to really depend on your own ability to get resources. And how are you going to get those resources? Well, your neighbor. Okay, it's going to become a predator and prey thing. And we know these people that have never been in confrontation before. You know, they live that life of leisurely. You know, they got air conditioning. They can pay their bills and all that stuff for that. So they're not wild like Jake. You know, who come from the streets. So Jake, who's the poorest, is going to be the first ones out there to really start to turn up the violence or turn up the things that's going to be going on here in Great Babylon, America, which is going to be you're going to have to go steal. You're going to have to knock over old ladies or knock over people and take their stuff. You're going to have to go break into houses. And Esau knows that Jake is prone to do shit like that. And they set up Jake to do that. This is why, if you remember the show, and they still have it probably going on, I don't really watch network television, Bait Car, okay? Where they would set up a nice car, kind of leave it, obviously, unattended. And they would have it in a particular neighborhood where they know Jake's them more likely to be curious and to go take the car for a joyride or even take the car and try to sell it. And they do this. They put the temptation there so that you can go and commit the crime so they can grab you and fill the jail cells up, okay? They know that Jake is prone to do those things because Jake is poor. Jake, especially the male, okay, grows up in a household, single mother, no father figure because either he's dead or he's in prison somewhere. You know, they set it up. So they're setting up a situation right now that's already here, okay, and it's going to get worse and worse, in which the poor and needy is going to be most likely, unless you have the faith in your Yahweh Shai that he's going to provide you with sustenance, food, okay? Jake's are not going to have the discipline to go a full day without eating, okay, or without having what they desire. They don't have that discipline. They're going to go out there in their carnal attitude, and they're just going to be a terror onto this place. And that's exactly what Esau needs in order to really up his ante in coming up against Jake's. Because they need to keep in mind that they need to make it seem as if everybody's up against them. They're making it seem as if everybody's up against Israel. However, Israel is the antagonist, going out there and bombing these nations. The hell? This man wants to grab you, come up to you, slap you up, kick you, knee you up in the head, and expect you to just stand there and take that shit. This is how the white man is, man. They will tie your legs, tie your arms behind your back, tie your legs, and say, we're going to race from here to that wall over there. We're going to race from here over there. Okay? They're freed, well rested. They have you all tied up. They starve you for a little bit. Beat you. And then when they beat you, they get the nerve to look down at you and tell you, you know what? You're just lazy. You're just not motivated. You need to just, build your bridges up and stuff like that. This is how they are. Am I right or wrong? This is how they are. So they do things, and they're so proud that anyone else that is not successful like them, even though they create the issue and the problem for the person or the place or the country or the nations or the tribes to not have the same success, okay, because they don't ever want to share that #1 spot. Oh no, hell no. They want to be first, second, and third if there's going to be a third person. They want everybody beneath them. This is why this man is coming up and saying he wants Iran unconditional surrender. Imagine that. Imagine you're the king of Persia, and you have this other nation that is trying to punk you like that on a global scale. So how much more so with us? You think about it, as a so-called black man in this country, this doggone Edomite man has turned around and he has punked us, man. He's punked us. And yes, so you get a doggone man still walking around bowing the knees to this doggone cracker, man. He's punked us to the point that our women have no respect for us. Nobody has respect for us. Why people can't believe that we are the prophet, the true prophets? Why? Because when you look at the history, when you look at how we've been punked globally by the doggone so-called white man, okay, it's hard to believe they cannot possibly be the men of the Lord. So he always has the advantage. He always has the advantage. All right? The ultimate power is against Great Babylon America. And what we know is our power has made it very clear that he's against, okay, the wicked, which is Great Babylon America. Let's go into Jeremiah, actually 49. Let's go back to Jeremiah again, 49. And start verse 20, because you best believe it, man. We in that time of war. Okay? It says, therefore, hear the counsel of the Lord Yahweh Shemeshai that he had taken against Edom, and his purposes that he had proposed against the inhabitants of Teman. Surely the least of the flock shall draw them out. Surely he shall make their habitation desolate with them. Okay? So you got Israel right now drawing out America. You have Jakes them that got out of the military and they stay in something called the IRR, which is the Individual Ready Reserve. Now the thing about it is that you're not being paid. You just on paper that you're still associated with the military, but you're not active. Okay, you're not an active service member drilling or anything like that. And all components have it. What they do is they usually go into the IRR and they pull those people out. Now they ain't providing any health care, no type of provision or anything like that for those people. Those people are on their own out there, whatever they can get from their civilian jobs or whatever cases like that. There's no training, no nothing. And they'll go and they're going to grab them first. They're also going to grab the reserves and the National Guard, okay, who they don't have any major investment in. And this is the standard now. And they send them to the front line. So with very little training and very little resource put in, because when you're in active duty or what they call a big army and you're getting a full paycheck, you're getting full medical benefit, maybe relocation expenses and housing allowance and all those things like that, they've invested into you. You're going to be most likely well trained, but in the reserve components, it's just a part-time position. Really, you still have to provide your own resources. In fact, a lot of National Guard service members actually spend more money going to drill weekend than they make. It's hard to believe that, right? I can tell you some stories, man. Okay? So they're going to grab them. You know about the selective service, which is what, 17 to 25. Well, that's selective service, which means they're going to pull all of them. Okay, male and female. But unless you're like 50 years old or late 40s or something like that, they can up the age of grabbing you and bring you in, and also reinstating certain people. Okay, reinstating certain people. Those who are collecting what do you call it, a retirement pay. Retirement is really retention. That's what you're getting is a retention pay. They can cut that off and all the benefits that's associated with that. Or they also can pull you back in, or if you refuse to go back in, cut it off. And we know that there's certain brothers. We know that there's some brothers in this that are actually retired and getting a retirement pay. So it could be where you can get called back. So you got right now you have. These people don't realize another stress that's going to be coming on top of the fact that you're going to have chaos brewing. If there's a cyber attack and the electricity goes off and you have goods and services interrupted, which is going to create chaos, which if there's chaos on the streets, you can have certain people not going to work. Key individuals that make that company move and not showing up to work, those companies are going to then default or go out of business. Hence, bringing out that prophecy that told me that there should be no work in Egypt, neither the head or tail will do. Okay, that's another scenario, another way in which you can have the collapse of these businesses because key people are too afraid to even step outside to go, or they're actually, put into the spirit world, being involved in these scuffles or these or the chaos, trying to grab goods or food or whatever the case is, that when things fall apart and people realize that if I don't grab some food or grab some stuff right now, I'm not gonna have anything. And keep in mind, people don't know. People are not gonna get things like flour, where you can add some water to it and then make it. It's a tasteless bread, but they call it naan. That's what those East Indians like to eat. If you go to their restaurant, they have something called naan. And you brought us from the islands. You all know what I'm talking about, like that. Flour pop, okay, broiled dough, okay. They don't know that, so they're gonna be looking for something that is gonna be more to their taste of what they used to have, and not understanding that the goal is to just have something inside your stomach so that you're not starving, okay. But what you have here is, it says right here, continuing, it says, the earth is moved at the noise of their fall, at the cry, the noise thereof was heard in the Red Sea. Behold, he shall come up and fly as an eagle and spread his wing over Basra, and at that day shall the heart of the mighty man of Edom be as the heart of a woman in her pangs. When the Lord brings his shadow or brings his judgment here on Great Babylon America, there's nobody that can stand to it. There's nobody that's going to be able to stand. Okay? Now we know how to, when this war kicks off, okay, the Mashiach is going to come at some point in time in it. Okay, at that stage you have society already collapsed. Society already collapsed. Okay, you just have just all out chaos. And really, the Mashiach return to go and take out to put an end to it, really is to save the creation. Because if they was to keep fighting it out, if the Lord Yahweh Shemashah was to let World War III just continue to fight all the way out to the very end, until there's nobody left, until there's nothing left to shoot, there'll be nothing left on this earth. This earth will be like how you see these apocalyptic movie, where like some alien race comes like 1,000 years in the future, or come like a couple hundred years in the future, and what they see is a planet that looks brown. It's not a blue planet, it's just brown because the ocean is polluted. I mean, everything's dead. It's dead. The planet is dead. It's dead. Okay? Because the people hiding underground, other than the elites who might have their people, engineers and all that stuff, and they show you that in those movies, Greenland and what was it, Deep Impact and Armageddon, where they take the people that have specialized skills who can come back when all hell, when the dust settles and clear, to come back up and restart civilization, so to speak, like building. They have like your architects, your engineers, your doctors. Those people, they try to preserve those kind of people like that so that they can continue to keep moving forward, okay, as it was before. But now you have less people and less resistance. So now the whole idea of these elites is to have as little resistance as possible. And one way you can get that is you having the people turn against each other. How you think the white man how you think these people can walk around all the time, with a big smile on their face and don't have to worry about Jake? Jake is too busy fighting each other. And the Lord Yahweh Shemashah set it up that way because bottom line is, at some point in time, if we have free will, we would have come to the conclusion, wait a minute, I look like this, you look like this, we're both getting treated like this. By this person that look like that, why in the hell don't you and I come up together and go against this fool? But in order for Esau to have the fulfillment of his blessing, the Lord Yahweh Shemashah had to subdue us through slavery, okay, make us not know who we are until at the appropriate time, which is right now, where certain men are picked out to go out in the highway and the byway to go and preach this gospel, okay, has come into the remembrance of who they really are, okay? So everything has to come at a particular time. You can say, well, why is it that we didn't know this, 100 years ago? Our spirit sort of kind of knew. Why was Esau them knew? Why do you think that they had a slave Bible, which was more of an obedient Bible? Why do you think they outlawed reading for us? Because they knew if we read the scriptures, our spirit might come back in the memories and go, okay, That's who I am. We realize that the people that's being spoken about here is not these doggone Edomites. Just like how we know right now, the true Jews, okay, are not those people over there in the state of Israel. Everything in the scriptures that talk about the Israelites going back to the land of Israel, okay, where there would be peace, you would have a street paved of gold, 12 gates, King David, okay, the 144,000, where are they? Where are they? Where's the 144,000 that their job is to go and teach the nations? Where are they? They're not here. They're not over there. They got the faggot parade going on over there. Where's the peace on this earth? So everybody know the gig is up. Esau has been exposed. Okay, so you have right now, okay, you have the least of the flock drawing them out. They're gonna go into war. Let's go into Jeremiah 50, 29 and 33. Okay. And it reads, call together the archers of Babylon, all ye that bend the bow, camp against it around about, let none thereof escape. Recompense her according to her work, which is wickedness, according to all that she had done, do unto her, for she had been proud against the Lord Yahweh Shemashah, against the Holy One of Israel. So the Lord, through Esau persecuting the poor, which is us, we don't have a military force to take out this man. The Lord is having these nations come up together. So Esau might, you might have America go up against Iran to help Israel, but eventually you can have China and Russia that's going to jump in. Turkey is going to jump in. North Korea is going to jump in. Okay, you can have EU and the NATO, and then we already know that the beast is, we already know that they're going to hate, okay, the whore. They're going to hate the whore. Okay, and turn against her, which is Great Babylon America. Okay, so if you're in the United States military right now, you are about to go in the spirit world at some point. Okay, and we can see how this is going to play out. Okay, you have entire fleets. Get them. What the hell? See, this is what I'm talking about right here. You get these ass clowns, they drive around. I mean, how much decibel do you need to drive around with that doggone stupid sound? Okay? And a lot of these cats are gonna get put to death. One of the things that you learn about, okay, when you're in a place of danger, is you want to be as quiet as possible. And that's a problem with doggone people, man, is niggas can't be quiet, man. They can't drive and just think, man. They gotta constantly have noise. Constantly gotta make noise. Constantly gotta make noise. That's the worst thing they ever created, was friggin' they're gonna have these doggone car stereo system that can blast loud like that. And there should be a law against that. They do have laws in these other countries against that, but over here, you're blasting it out 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the doggone morning. Okay? You wanna be quiet. I'm just saying it because it's just it annoys the hell out of me. I have a neighbor that does that. He likes to show off all his cars and stuff like that. And it's like, yeah, dude, we all, nobody around here is impressed. Okay? I can blast loud music too. But for the most part, I have an earphone in my ear listening to the brothers and teach. Then I'm prepping to make my own lesson if the Spirit is on me for it. And I'm in deep thoughts of the things that are going to be coming here on Great Babylon America, man. When all this folly is going to go out of the window. Because you're going to have these people, they're not preparing mentally for what is about to come. But then they expect the men that are prepared mentally for it to save their ass. Or you can look at it from this way. The preppers that are prepping up right now, people are going to be trying to go, well, can you give me some of your food? Well, you were being told to prep all the while that this was going to take place. You watch YouTube. You watch TikTok. Weren't you looking and seeing what was going to happen? Okay? So, again, right now, people think that it's a joke. They're looking for like to be entertained. You know, they don't take anything serious. And then when the time comes, they're going to be looking around going, what was it that you were preaching? What was those signs that you had? Okay? And it's easy to overlook us because most of the men that are going out there on the highway and the byway are so-called Negroes. Okay? Yeah, you have our Northern Kingdom tribe brothers out there, different parts of the world, and also here in Great Babylon, America. But the majority of the brothers that are going out there are really doing this, even from these other camps like IUIC and the rest of them, a dark skin. That's why they call you the black Hebrew Israelite. They don't call you the brown Hebrew Israelites. They call you the black Hebrew Israelite because people like me are associated with blackness. Okay, not brown. Okay, which is really the color of my skin is brown. But you're associated with blackness, so that's why we're called the black Hebrew Israelite. Okay, so basically it has to be radical because here you are, a nobody, coming out and turning around and speaking against people who are somebody, which is a so-called white man and everybody else. And saying that this place is going to be destroyed, the military is going to be destroyed, the Lord, God, Yahweh Shemel Shai, who the word when he called God and Jesus, you don't like him, he's going to destroy him, he's only going to save a certain set of people out here in America before this place is destroyed. And they hate that, including people that look just like us. They hate that. How dare you crawl from under a rock from somewhere? How dare you step up and speak against the authority? Well, the authority is the scriptures, okay? And our authority doesn't come from you peonic pieces of shit, okay? A lot of you are lower than you really think that you are, okay? Now, we don't get carnal. The men of the Lord are never going to stand up and tell you, okay, where they sit, okay, as far as having any type of assets or whatever the case is like that. Because it's not about them, it's not about us. It's about doing this work. It's about doing this work, and that's the part of being a humble servant. The scripture tells you, if riches increase, don't set your mind upon it. Why? Because the Lord can take it away anytime He wants. Don't get set up on your damn leisure. But hey, of course, if you have a damn good and AC and friends and everybody to come around to doggone, kiss your butt cheek and all that stuff for that, and you have it good like that, you don't feel like you have anything to worry about until you have something to worry about. Okay? That's why the Lord tells us don't pray for these people, man. They're not worth it. I certainly ain't praying for your ass. I'm going to laugh the hell at you, boy. Oh, I am going to laugh the hell at your ass. Okay? Let's go into... all right, continuing on here, it says... Behold, this is Jeremiah 50, and verse 31 reads, Behold, I am against thee, O most proud, said the Lord, power of hosts, for thy day is come, the time that I will visit thee. And the most proud shall stumble and fall, and none shall raise him up. And I will kindle a fire in the cities, and it shall devour all around about him. So you can tell from that, okay, Lord of destruction, those will come in the form of IEDs, those will come in the form of tactical nukes. Okay, they already had the people that are going to do the damage over here, people who can build roadside bombs and stuff, something that we're not used to. I will go into a lesson about it. I usually try not to bring up my service history, and the things I saw and did. But I'll do a lesson on Lord willing. I'll do a lesson if the Spirit's on me to bring it out like that. But certain things, for those who have not experienced it out there. Okay, and I know a lot of brothers they were like Marines, and some was in the Army, some was in the Air Force, Navy. So you've been overseas, you've seen some things, you know what I'm talking about. But these are things that's going to take place here in Great Babylon, America. Okay, it says, thus said the Lord of hosts, Yahweh Shemel Shai, the children of Israel and the children of Judah were pressed together, and all that took them captive held them fast, they refused to let them go. Okay, the Lord is going to recompense Esau, okay, for the things that he's done to his chosen people. For the things that he's done to his chosen people. What? You can't possibly believe Esau that you're just going to get away with murdering and killing the children of Israel. Okay, and the Lord right now has got you up in that position right now. Let's go into Genesis 4:49. Genesis 49 and 9. Okay, and it reads, Judah is a lion's whelp from the prey. My son, thou art gone up. He stooped down. He crouched as a lion, as an old lion. Who shall rouse him up? That is about to come up. That is about to come up. We already know what happens when Judah rise up. All the other tribes will rise up too. Okay? Because Judah, who is like what they call the so-called Negroes, which is dark-skinned men like myself. Okay? Our symbol is lion, man. That's the reason why it says who will rouse him up. Yahushua is from the tribe of Judah. Lion. What is a lion? It's a noble animal. Okay? That's majestic. They call him king of the jungle. Okay? Which the reality is that lions do actually not rumble in the jungle. They actually are more in the plains and Serengeti and those things like that. Because why? That's where the animals go. Jungle, all you have is gorillas and doggone baboons and stuff like that. So lions don't go to the jungle. Lions are actually in the Serengeti, in the plains, you know, to do ambush and stuff like that, so they can get those fresh, you know, elk or fresh wildebeest and things like that. That's where the lions are. You know, that's where they are. So if you want to talk about king of the jungle, then you probably need to get like maybe a gorilla. Okay, gorilla. Okay, this is Job 20. Job 20 and verse 19. It reads, because he had oppressed and had forsaken the poor, because he had violently taken away a house which he built not. We can use an example. Conquistadors went down to South America and did what? Took over the Incas and all the Jakes that was down there. Yeah, likewise, you had the British and the French that came over here and did the same thing to Jakes that were here, mainly the tribe of Gad. Okay, tribe of Gad, Native Americans. Okay, took the land, took the resources and the gold and everything, and they own their wealth, and they put them out there right now in these things they call reservation, setting up these phony casinos and saying that the Native Americans own that. No Native American owns any of these casinos. Okay, they might build a casino on the land, they might get like a little bit of money that comes into maybe for the roads and stuff like that, but there's no such thing as a Native American owning these casinos. These casinos are owned by what is known as $5 Indians. $5 Indians. Okay, somebody who can come and say, "Oh, I'm part Indian. I'm 1/10 Indian." You ever hear somebody say, "I'm half German, half French, half Italian, half Portuguese, half Sioux Indian"? How the hell you can be half? Isn't half just two? So how the hell you could be half of that? That makes no sense. Okay, and these things will go over your head when you dealing with retarded people in the world. It'll just go over your head. You know, you get a beer drinking, or you get a colada, or whatever the case is like that. You know, and you just in that folly, in that spirit of mirth. And it would just go right over your head when somebody's talking to you like that, as a you know, because they're very brash, especially these Edomites. Okay, because they like to exalt themselves. And likewise, you have certain Jakes that like to do the exact same thing too. All right, but it goes. There shall none of his meat be left, therefore shall no man look for his goods. In the fullness of his sufficiency he should be in straits. Every hand of the wicked shall come upon him. When he is about to fill his belly, power shall cast a fury of his wrath upon him, and shall rain it upon him when he is eating. So the Lord is going to allow him to get certain things off the ground. You know, the MOTB. You know, you're going to have a heavy resistance, a lot of violence here in Great Babylon, America. Hey, we come on, we say it all the time because what? Listen up, man. Listen up. It's going to get stupid. It is going to get stupid. It is going to get stupid here in Great Babylon, America. And you don't know who's an enemy and who's a friend. You really don't. You actually really don't know who's an enemy and who's a friend. We're going to find who's a brother in a time when the time comes. Because you can have a camp with a bunch of dudes around you, and they may be the very ones that stab you in the back or try to take your life, or throw you to Esau, or throw you under the bus, or whatever the case like that, especially if you're a low-level brother in that camp. Or you might be the camp leader, and you have brothers in that camp that hate your ass. And you got brothers in your camp who don't even want to be there, period. They might just be showing up just because what else is there to do? They just think that you can talk shit about them if they bounce. Okay? So we're in that time right now where anything is plausible. All the phonies will be revealed. All the backstabbing will come out in the open. We're in that time. Alright? So here it is, Esau. The Lord is going to expose his ass and take his ass down. Okay? As soon as he thinks he has a system set up, we're going to Psalms 94 and Psalm 16. As soon as this man thinks he has it going, the Lord is going to bring him down. This is Psalms 94, Psalm 16. It reads, "Who will rise up for me against the evildoers? Who will stand up for me against the workers of iniquity?" Who will? Okay, and it's not a carnal thing like, okay, you know, I got some guns here, or I got a weapon. This is about speaking this stuff. Okay, place is going to be destroyed. Sodom is evil, and the Lord says he hates it. Okay, and we know by our law, Bati boys and Bati girls to be put to death. There's going to be an RFID microchip. We are the 12 tribe of Israel. Okay, and those big nose kikes over there, the small hearts over there, they're phony, and they're all going to die. The Lord is going to destroy the state of Israel. We're going to watch it in real time. Okay, one of the biggest things that I know me personally, I would love to live to see, and Lord willing, Yahweh Shemashai spares my life to see this man fall. To see this man fall. Okay? So we stand up against the wicked. And Esau knows exactly who the hell we are. He knows our background, social security number, and likewise, blah 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 blah. So what? So what, dude? So what? When you came into this world, you already knew at one point in time you're going to get old and die. Or you can just die. Now we know the Lord controls everything, so he can delete you anytime he wants. If he's not pleased with you. Plain and simple. There ain't a damn thing anybody can do about it. And if the Lord doesn't want to delete you, there's not a damn thing you can do about it, Esau. Plain and simple. There's just people you're not going to be able to touch. Alright, it says, "Unless the Lord, Yahweh Shemashai, be in my help, my soul had almost dwelt in silence. When I said, my foot slipped, thy mercy, O Lord, Yahweh Shemashai, held me up." Let me say this. I only can speak for myself, because I remember when I was in the world, I was a good slave for Esau. Let me tell you, I used to go all out to prove myself. I didn't know. I knew something was off, but I didn't know what it was. I couldn't put my finger on it. I knew I was cursed with something, but I didn't know what it was. I couldn't tell. I didn't know. If the Lord Yahweh Shemashai don't wake you up, you will never wake up. I don't care who you are, how intelligent you are, how much degrees you have, how much projects you've worked on or led, how much millions of dollars you've made for a business. If the Lord Yahweh Shemashai do not wake you out of that sleep, you will never wake up. You cannot possibly wake up. It's impossible. You cannot wake up. You think about it. I think about it all the time. Like, how did I not see it? How did I not know? You kind of had a little bit of a feeling, and that means that the Lord was eventually going to wake you up at the right time. But you could literally, like I did, spend 40-something years chasing your damn tail in the world. Chasing your damn tail. Unless the Lord wake you up, you will never, ever come out of that sleep. You will never, ever come out of that sleep. 2/3 has to die. They have to. There's no choice. They can't. They can't get it. They can never get it. Let's go on to Amos 1, 11 and 12. Let's go on to Amos 1. So this is a privilege that we have right now. You can imagine right now. You're awake, man. And you get people wasting it. Don't want to get up there and go do the work. Scared to step the hell out there. All you want to do is just post scriptures. Sit behind it, then be a keyboard prophet. And maybe that's your role. I don't know. But why wouldn't you step the hell out? Because you're playing doggone dumb games, man. Okay? This is Amos 1. It's starting with verse 11. It reads, Thus said the Lord Yahweh Shemashai, for 3 transgressions of Edom, and for 4, I will not turn away the punishment thereof, because he did pursue his brother with the sword, and did cast all of all pity, and his anger did tear perpetually, and he had kept his wrath forever. The so-called white man has never shown us mercy. He had no intention of showing us mercy. So why the hell are you going out there and begging him for? What are you begging him for, man? Okay? You niggas and you spicks, you need to grow some balls and understand this, man. Stand up like doggone men. One way or the other, this man has intention. Okay, if you go Genesis 27:41, where Esau says he's going to kill his doggone brother, man. One way or the other, this man has evil intentions of killing us. Okay, it says, but I will send a fire upon Teman, which shall devour the palaces of Basra. So even though this man have this tremendous hate for us, the Lord Yahweh Shemashai is going to intervene and give him that judgment that he rightfully deserves. Esau deserves that judgment that he's going to get. Let's go into the book of Psalms 10, Psalm verse 2. Book of Psalms 10, starting with verse 2. And it reads, The wicked in his pride, though persecute the poor, let them be taken in their devices that they had imagined. Okay, they imagine to take away the food. They imagine throwing you in those concentration camps. They imagine you not having a doggone job to be able to feed your family. They imagine to humiliate the so-called black man, the so-called Latino man, the so-called Native American man. Guess what? That's now going to happen to you. Starting from you low-level Edomites all the way up to your kings, which when the Lord Yahweh Shemashai send his men down in those angelic bodies, in those godly bodies, pursuing Jeremiah 16 and 16. Okay, first fishes for the elect. Then you're gonna come down. You're gonna be a hunt. You're gonna hunt these damn wicked ass devils. They're going holes, so that they can start their judgment, which is that doggone slavery, in which they will doggone bring back the rest of their tribe to go into slavery, constant slavery. Okay. It says, For the wicked boasted of his heart, says, I am blessed, the covetous, whom the Lord Yahweh Shemashai abhorred. The wicked through his pride and his countenance will not seek after power. Power is not in his stores. Of course not. Imagine you don't get judged. Imagine you don't get punished. We get punished. We get punished. We have aches and pains right now and all kinds of stuff happening to us. And we out here preaching. But yes, sir, we still suffering those things. We still get tired. We still get sick. Uncomfortable. Okay, you got wicked spirit trying to come on you, trying to persuade you into other shit. Okay, it says, his ways are always grievous, thy judgment are far out of his sight. As for all his enemies, he puffeth at them. So imagine if you've never been touched, you've never lost. Why would you have any fear of the Lord Yahweh Shemashai? Why would you? And we know the persecution against us is going to come real soon. They're going to pull out some of our history. Some of us are going to have our personal business thrown out there. They can pull out your history. Society can try to shame you. And that's why we have the mindset of, okay, who gives a shit of these dead people, what they think? Seriously. You think I give a crap about my neighbor's thing? I don't even know my neighbor's name. I don't know their name. If I see them, I turn my head the other way. I constantly watch them. I watch their every move because I don't trust them. But I don't know their name and I don't talk to them because I don't give a fuck about them. I really don't. Their opinion won't matter to me. Okay? The opinion of everybody on this earth won't really matter to me. I could care less. Honestly, I could die right now. I can guarantee nobody will give two shits if I'm living or dead. And that's the truth. Especially as a so-called black man in this country, your life is valueless. So why in the hell do you give a shit what the rest of the world thinks? So these people, they're gonna come in and call us a black Hebrew Israelites and talk all kinds of doggone shit. And we already know that they're probably gonna be starting up at IUIC and a lot of these other, marching buffoons and the ones that are doing their paramilitary training on camera and all that stuff like that, they're gonna get scooped up. But at the end of the day, we're all under the same. We all gonna be following under the same banner. They don't care. And yes, some of us are going to get our head chopped off or be that sacrifice, to exalt Yahweh Shem Shai. Now we don't know which one of us is going to get that honor. And then a man that can stand back and say they're not concerned about death. Okay? But that's where that faith comes in. And the Lord is going to put the spirit in a particular man that are going to get that. You're going to have some of us going to get dragged off the court. And I have it in my head. I'm trying to picture that. They drag one of the elder brothers them. Oh my goodness. And I don't know which elder brother. Let's just, they drag off one of the elder brothers to the court, or a couple elder brothers to the court. And I can imagine like brothers are getting on the plane or carpooling or getting on the car, and we in the court watching the proceedings going on. Keep in mind, it's going to look just how it looks right now in a regular court proceeding as they start talking crap, and we are going to watch in action as how about Shemaiah Shai speaks to whichever brother sitting up there. That's why he says, don't worry about what you're going to say. I don't know as much as these elder brothers or the apostles, them like that. I can't. I don't have that kind of. I don't have it. I have a very little portion. That's it. That's all I have. What am I gonna say? If they've grabbed me. So that's why. How shall I say? Don't worry about it. I got you. I got you. To confound them. To confound them. Don't worry. I got you. Let's go into Corinthians 15. And start verse 22. This is actually 1 Corinthians. 1 Corinthians 15. And start verse 22. And it reads, for as in Adam all die, even so in a Mashiach shall all be made alive. But every man in his order. Mashiach, the first fruit, afterward they that are Mashiach at his coming. Okay? So you have Yahweh Shai. And then you have the ones that he chose, the ones that he selected, that was given to him. Then come at the end, when he shall have delivered unto the kingdom to power, even the Father, when he shall have put down all rule and authority and the power. So you got really all of this authority, all of the Mashiach, he's going to have all power and authority on this earth and in this universe. Everything is going to be given to him. And in turn, he has a select set of men. Now, Lord willing, you get being part of the elect and getting beamed up. And part of the elect being is you get the help beamed up. Obviously, as brothers, we all want to be the 144,000. That's the reason why you see brothers, they see anything with 144. You going, yes, Shalom, Khan, and we go Khan. Why? Because that's a government ruling body on the earth. Here we are, nobody in this society, but you still have to walk with our head up no matter what. You have to walk with our head up in confidence. You've been mocked and made fun of your entire life. You're abandoned by your family, your people don't want nothing to do with you. Even before you came into the ministry, they didn't really like you for whatever reason. You might not have been the best student in school or whatever the case is like that. You might not have become the doctor or surgeon or whatever the case is like that. Which is kind of like laughable when you look at it. It's like, wow. True way, all those decades. Now you're an old ass motherfucker, and now you wanna talk. Okay? Which is always typical way Christians always want to do things. Because they have the mentality of, you know what? Just before you die, all you have to do is say, Jesus, forgive me. And everything you did in your life is forgiven. Okay? Because remember that thing with the cross? They took that and they mean be wicked 99.99% of your life. And at that 0.00111 whatever percentage, just turn around and say, Lord, I did everything wrong in my life, like that, forgive me. And then you close your eye and you die. And then you wake up in heaven. What kind of shit is that? What kind of no works, no faith, no nothing. but get rewarded, like, but then you're going to get rewarded. Okay? And that's why I think it's so detrimental to your life, man. It's anti-life. Christianity is anti-life. It says, for he must reign till he hath put all enemies on his feet. The last enemy that shall be destroyed is death. And the death is Esau. Esau is death. The so-called white man is death. Everywhere he goes, it's death. He is death itself. Let's close out with the book of Obadiah 1 and 18. Okay? Obadiah 1 and 18. So the Mashiach is going to deal with this man. The Mashiach is going to get vengeance. And yeah, you do feel like something, man. You're in this flesh and you do get angry. You do feel like something, dude. And you're constantly fighting. There's a cute little bird out here. I like this bird. Maybe you can see him in the background. This is Obadiah 1 and 18. It reads, and the house of Jacob, 12 tribes of Israel, should be on fire, and the house of Joseph a flame, and the house of Esau for stubble, and they shall kindle on them, and devour them, and there shall be not any remaining of the house of Esau, for the Lord Yahweh Shemashah had spoken it. Okay? So, again, let's wrap it up. The Mashiach is given everything. He's going to have authority over life and death. He's going to have authority over everything. He's going to have a governing body, 144,000 men, okay, that's going to be, given authority in certain parts of this earth. And this earth is bigger than Esau is saying. There's a lot more resources. And on top of that, too, you're also going to have the ability to travel in space. So all those planets and galaxies and stuff like that, I mean, it's just going to be, unbelievable. Unbelievable. Okay? He's going to he's out of this 144,000 governing body. Okay? Make war with these nations. Take them down. Put down Esau. And I just close out with Obadiah 1:18, where Esau, after the accumulation of his slavery, we're going to round them up and create a big bonfire and take them out. They're going to be so useless at that time. Because initially, the initial Edomites, they're going to still have the same pride as they have right now, coming from underground. Okay? They're going to have the same pride. But as time goes by, they're going to get stupider and stupider and stupider and stupider until they become Unga Bunga. And at that stage, they've already served their judgment, their punishment, which is what? Slavery. And the Lord Yahweh Shemashah is going to extinguish them. Lord willing, the elect was edified, the turn to the east, give all glory and honor to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Dash, Shalom.